Hi, I am Contagion, and I don't want to waste anyone's time, so I'm going to cut right to it with the fast version of things. This here Gigabyte Gaming X570 Gaming killed my Ryzen 9 3900X by overvolting the ever-loving heck out of it. If you are building a new Ryzen 3000 system, particularly one with a Ryzen 9 and particularly one with a Gigabyte board, you want to make sure you go into your BIOS by hitting the delete key as soon as you power it on and making sure those voltages match up with the specs provided by AMD. This thing sent about 1.48 volts to the processor in the last moment I was able to check before it just died, and did not live after that. I didn't know if the processor or motherboard had failed, so I went to Micro Center today to buy a new motherboard. I got an MSI one, and it didn't give me any beep codes, but the diagnostic LEDs on it showed that the CPU was indeed dead. So, long story short, if you're configuring a Ryzen 9 3000 system, at this point in time, you need to go into the BIOS and make sure your voltages are right, because I don't know if my RAM is cooked. I don't know what other components were cooked. I do know, however, that my CPU was, my $500 CPU died. Anyway, on to the long version of things for those of you who are still here. So, if you saw the video last Sunday, I configured my Ryzen 3000 PC. I was pretty excited. I had this here gaming X570 motherboard. A decently built board, good VRM. I have no issues with that. And yeah, I/O was a bit lackluster, but I mean, for the price, it was a good board. Or so I thought. Ryzen 9 3900X, 16 gigs of DDR4, 3600, all that good stuff. But this has been my nightmare build. I've been building computers since I was 16 years old, for 19 years now, and this is by far the worst that I've ever had to deal with. So the last Sunday set the tone. When I went to Micro Center, when I called them and they said they had 10 3900Xs in stock. I showed up shortly after noon and they're like, dude, all of those have been sold to online people and you don't get one. They're all reserved. Can't give you any of them. So that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. On Tuesday, my friend Chris called and told me the other Micro Center had one. I went, I got it. So that was cool. On Friday, my parts came. Puppy. My floor is littered with stuff from all of the troubleshooting I was doing and just trying to get this to work. So on Friday, all my parts came. Friday night, I built the machine, and it worked for a few minutes. I wanted to show video of it powering on and of the voltage display because I had it pulled up, but the webcam's focus was a little off for that, and it was a little too noisy, so you can't ascertain the numbers, so I'm not going to bother. Suffice to say, when I shut it down, it took forever to post, but I brought it up in here to my office, and I powered it on up here, and was looking through it, and yeah, the CPU was getting like 1.48 volts, and before I had a chance to really change anything, it shut off. And that was the last that computer did anything. I attempted to use Gigabyte's Q-Flash to update the BIOS version. It didn't want to work. Nothing wanted to work. And I don't know that the motherboard itself had failed. I just think that the CPU did. The motherboard cooked it. Jay's 2 Cents reported something like this happening on one of his boards, but luckily he didn't suffer processor death. That might have just been pure luck that he didn't, or maybe it was because he had a water cooler on it. But my Noctua DH15 should have been more than enough to handle it. The temperatures reported were 47 C max, which actually is really freaking high for the BIOS menu. It would jump up to 47 and then come back down to the 30s and jump up again, at least for the minute or so that I saw it, which did strike me as particularly odd. What else was I going to say? I think Hardware Unbox did suffer from a Ryzen 9 3900X failure. I don't know if this issue is limited to Gigabyte. But anyway, Gigabyte is who did it for me. So I went to Micro Center today, got an MSI motherboard, something crosshair with Wi-Fi. It was a mid-tier board, definitely higher than this one, but not like the super fancy ones. Brought it home, plugged in the CPU, powered it on, even recorded a little video, and nothing. Plugged in a little portable speaker, No beep codes, no nothing. Tested the speaker on my 3570K Dragon over here. Nothing. I mean, well, actually, it worked on the Dragon. It beeped. So I brought it back down there. I noticed the actual diagnostic LEDs that I hadn't before, and lo and behold, when I turned it on, the CPU LED was glowing. So, the other micro center that's about 45 minutes to an hour from me reported having 2 Ryzen 9 3900Xs. So I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get a fancier motherboard, and I'm going to trade my processor in because I want this to work. And, you know, on one hand, it sucks that all this happened, but on the other, at least I can rest assured that it wasn't my fault. You know, I don't get to build PCs that often, so sometimes I feel a little shaky, but it wasn't anything I did. It was working for a while. Anyway, I went to Micro Center, and I told them, look, I want to trade the motherboard in. I need a new PC, CPU. This one's dead. You know, I'm spooked. I just want the build to work. And they're like, okay, why don't you go grab the motherboard, come back and meet me up front, and I'll get the CPU. I meet the guy back up front. Oh, sorry, we have 2 in stock, but those are reserved for online people. You can't get them. If they fail to show up in 24 hours, then we can sell them to you. And so at that point, I kind of begged them. I was like, look, man, I'm here now. I've given you guys money. You know, could you just do me a favor and let me have the CPU and you know, the online person will have to deal. I mean, I don't like putting someone off like that, but at the same time, I'm here. I was there. But they said no, and whatever. That was their policy. So I returned everything. Right now, I have a Noctua DH15, 16 gigs of DDR4, an NVMe solid-state drive, all without a home. So that's where I stand. You know, it just really sucks that such a dumb issue that should have been seen and caught and has been seen by, like, the community wasn't immediately addressed and wasn't fixed and got to us to begin with. Like, 1.48 volts on a processor that, like, I think the max that it specifies running at is, like, in the 1.3s. I don't even know offhand. But it just sucks because now I don't know what my timeline is. I had requested a day off work Monday. I'm going to attempt to call the person who said they'd work for me, give up not take my vacation time and actually go in. And as for a timeline on my new PC, I don't know. I'm not going to blame anyone except maybe, I mean, a couple things could have been better. Like AMD, your supplies of this processor that you knew was going to be in high demand sucks. Motherboard manufacturers, you let that get by your QC. That's not acceptable at all. You might say, like, oh, it shouldn't matter. Well, it did. My processor died. And Micro Center, you got to do something about your online ordering and your inventory showing up. I should be able to call a store directly, get in touch with someone at that store, and find out at that moment who's got what. Because apparently that's when I'm talking to someone over the phone, it's not at your store. So I don't know. My rant is over. I just wanted to make this video to, like, kind of spread the word because it's a potentially big issue, and I don't want other people to have to go through what I did because, you know, I was waiting on this PC for over a year and a half, and it's like, once it came together, I pictured myself right now, like, benchmarking it while I work, because I'm technically working right now, benchmarking it, testing it out, installing some games, installing some productivity software, but no, here I am with a messy house full of computer stuff everywhere, and just wondering when I indeed will get my Ryzen 9 3900X PC that works and doesn't cook itself. Alright, my rant is over. I'm going to go make some food, do some meal prep, eat some keto tacos, because it's been like 16 hours since I've ate at least. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check your dang BIOS settings, because the default ones are garbage. Bye-bye.